Alright, so what's up YouTube? So today is basically part 2 of getting my GTS to start up on its own. The problem is it just cranks over, and will not fire up on its own. So I thought for sure it was in the fuel system. So in the previous video, I changed out all my fuel lines, changed out the fuel selector, which was probably 26 years old. Thought maybe that was probably the issue. I changed out the fuel filter, and nothing changed. I even did a spark test and a compression check just to make sure, and everything checked out good. So the only thing left that it could be is my carburetor. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to pull that carburetor out, get it on the bench, and hopefully find out what's going on in there that's keeping this ski from starting on its own. So if you maybe have the same issue, ski will not start up on its own, or it's even hard to start, then hang around, and maybe today's video will help you get your ski back on the water. Alright, so let's get to a starting point, I guess, on this carburetor. And real quick, if you can tell or see how dirty and nasty this ski is, as I'd mentioned, we were going to take it out the last day, like end of September. Wouldn't start, so I just shoved it in the backyard. I was going to get to it, but I never did, and so it just sat out in the backyard all winter. And this is what happens when you just set it out uncovered in a backyard. But anyway, let's get to the carb here. I've removed everything from the carb, and so this is going to be our starting point. I've got just 2 bolts, single carb 717 engine, 2 bolts to come out. I'm going to have to remove my choke cable, have a throttle cable, and then have an oil cable underneath this carb. And then I have my fuel lines to remove, and then we can pull this carb right out of here. But anyway, again, real quick, if you are looking around, you found a ski, you get it home, and you can't get the thing to start. So there's things you do to start narrowing it down. As we did in the video prior to this, I won't go back and do it again. But we checked for spark. Spark was good. I checked compression. Compression is really good on this machine. And I've got good fresh fuel in it, so it would not run. So I replaced the fuel lines. They were not the old gray lines, but they were old, I guess. So I didn't trust them. I had not changed them since I owned this machine. So I changed out the fuel lines. I put in a new fuel selector here. I'm sure that the one that was in it was 20-something years old. And real quick here, the fuel filter water separator, where's my finger? Right there. Changed that out. Got a new filter inside of there and a new O-ring to make sure that we're not sucking air. And did all that, and we still are not running. So let me show you real quick. Let me just remove my lights. What it's doing when I say we're in a no start situation on the skis. So I've got the fuel on here. Put my key on. I'll go ahead and put the choke on. It's not going to stay out, is it? Come on. What if I turn it? There we go. All right. Now I can do this all day long, and I'm not getting anything. So let's put the choke back in. It's still not going to make any difference. So that's what I mean when we have a no start. So narrowed it down to my carburetor, and this is something that you can do. You pick up an old ski, you just start, and it's a good thing, even though it wasn't my problem with the replacing the fuel lines and the fuel selector and the fuel filter up front. It didn't get the ski running, but I needed to do that anyway, so that's just something you would go ahead and do. Just to make sure you're starting off at a good point. So let me stop here. I might get a GoPro, stick it down here someplace, I don't know. And let's get this carb out on the bench and see what's going on. Okay, so let's start getting the carb off here. I went ahead and well, we're going to start on the cable side, obviously, and I've already loosened the 10 mil nuts here on the choke and on the throttle. So let's go ahead and get that off. Now, you can unhook the connections here without doing what I'm doing, but we're taking this off anyway. So let me just get it started so I don't lose it. Alright, choke is off. Apologize, my hand may be blocking you, but we're going to do the same thing. Just going to take the nut and washer off. Go ahead and pull that through. And I'm just trying to get this nut started on here so that I don't lose it, and I'm having a little trouble. Got it. I'm just screwing in case you can't see, just so I don't lose it once I take out the disconnect it here. And I can't really see from up top, so I'm kind of going by feel to get this cable disconnected, and there we go. Alright, so I may do it this last. I've got my oil cable here. I've already loosened this nut here. I may wait until I get the carburetor unbolted, and then we'll get that one undone for the oil. So let's move over to the, well, I'll go ahead up top. Let's see if I can adjust the camera at all. So I've got the two bolts up top. Okay, make sure I've got them both completely undone. Alright, so let me move you on to this side. We're going to disconnect, or maybe, I don't know, let's see. Really all I have left over here is the fuel lines and the fuel pump. So I've already, again, just for brevity, I've already kind of loosened them up. Let me see if I can get you out of the hole here. Alright, so I've got them loosened up already, and let me get a rag, something to throw on here, because I know they're full of fuel. If I didn't mention that before, somebody may mention, well, when you were trying to start it and you just replaced all your lines are dry and you didn't give the engine pump time enough to draw fuel. Well, I already done that. I already primed the lines, and so there's fuel in the lines, and that was not the problem why it wouldn't start. So let me get a towel. Let's put it down in there. All right, let's see if I can hold the camera and get this all in one hand. As I said, I have already loosened these up, so they were not that simple. I took the whole screw out of that clamp. Not want to come off. Yeah, I took the whole screw out of that one. So this is the pump, and we got that off. So we are almost there, and we are. Now you can see, as I said, I rebuilt these carbs this carb last year sometime, and that's a good gasket. I'm going to try to save that gasket, and let's get this right here. Let me get this oil line. I've got to get this screwed out. I'm going to take this nut off and pull this through here. And let's get this. I'm going to do this instead of disconnecting the cable at the bottom of the carb. Alright, so we got the carburetor out of the GTS, and let's break into it here. I've already broken it. I thought it just pulled away from the nipple, but it actually broke. And but I cheated a little bit. I went ahead and broke loose all the screws in case we had anything that was really tight. I didn't have to use my impact driver on any of them, but it is pumping fuel to the carburetor, so I think I'm going to start over here on this side. So everything should be good, I expect, as far as the diaphragms and everything. Thought I had a little pick. Here we go. So you can see this is in really good shape. And just looking at this, I would say that's pretty dry. You know, going by, it seemed like it should be pretty wet since I've been trying to crank this thing for a while. So maybe we're not getting fuel over to this side of the carburetor. So, well, let's just go ahead and take it apart here. I don't know that I'm going to take the jets and everything out. I might. We'll look and see once we get down in there what kind of condition that we're looking at. But right now, this is pretty clean. I mean, for this old carburetor, this is pretty clean. That screw was pretty easy. I didn't have to break that loose, so, but I don't think it was still in its place, so there was no issue there. It just wasn't real tight. Let's see what I've got. Pull the seat out. These may be too big. I don't know. I don't want to damage the seat. There you go. Now, when I did a rebuild, I did not change the seat and I did not change the needle. They looked good. So these are, I don't know how long they've been in the ski, but I left those as they were. And the spring as well, I did not change the spring. And I didn't feel like I needed to, because I said we had this thing out on the water running and it ran fine, so really there was no need, if there was no issues, to that we had the right spring. And if you are decided to dig into the carbs on your old ski and you haven't done so before, these screws, just be careful. You know, it's only been a year, so I was able to pop these free, but you know, if it's been a while, you can very easily strip these out. So you might want to get a impact screwdriver, or even with a screwdriver here, use a hammer just to tap it a little bit instead of really cranking on it, because you'll strip these out really easy. I pulled the gasket out. So I'm just taking a look at the little check valve there. You know, I'm going over my head what could be wrong with this, but this is really clean. And so I am not going to continue to really dissect this. I may just get my compressor real quick and just do a little blow through. I was hoping to find something that was the culprit. Now I replaced all of the, except for the spring, the needle in the seat, you know, the gaskets and diaphragm, everything. I replaced everything else. So I'm not really seeing anything over here. I'm just going to snug these down. Don't really crank on them, but get them nice and snug. I didn't replace the seat, but I did replace this O-ring, so we should be good there. We'll do a pop-off test when we get this back together. We're going to go into the other side as well, and pump side, and let's see what's going on. As I said, before I turned the camera on, I broke these loose. So they're just snug, they're not really tight. And usually, I guess I want to say this is shows this hasn't been run or hasn't been run much. Usually this plastic cover, pump, whatever, diaphragm is pretty much attached, fused to the gasket here, but this one is not. Now the other thing, in thinking, trying to wonder if I did something wrong, I may go ahead, again, first of all, I don't really see anything right off the bat. This is pretty clean, but maybe, I don't know if it will have anything to do with it. Comment below, but you know, I could have put in these check valves wrong, upside down. I don't remember, so that could be issue. I don't know, but see, this is in good shape. There's no need to replace this. I'm just going to get over here. I think I'll have to check first. I think I have some more check valves, but I may go ahead and do that, even though I don't see any issues just by looking at it here. Looks like there is some trash in there. Can you see that? Oh, I don't have my good lights with me, so I may go ahead and change out this. It does look like there is some trash on this filter, so maybe we do have an issue there with some trash, but I'm going to hold this out. I've got plenty of these filters that are clean and good shape. I'm going to go ahead and put this back together. I said I have some clean filters. Take a look at the gasket. That is the correct diaphragm gasket, whatever. Fits it perfectly. Okay, let me see if I've got some check valves. These are just parts. I can see one here. These are parts left over from previous rebuilds, and I don't know if you can see, but keep them just in case. Yeah, we got some check valves here. So I don't know if there's a difference. I got between the red and the blue. I'll go with the blue. And we'll just put everything back in. All right, I do have a small, the little check valve tool, but let me find it. Let me check real quick. You can run this thing through and not really, sometimes not see the hole, but it's, you can see that's, it's not going all three. It's not punctured. Yeah, neither one are punctured. So, all right, as I understand it, the top side is going to be where the blue is going to be up top. So, wow. That's great. That took it right out really quick. No wonder it broke it. So, no wonder. So, I won't be reusing that. Yeah, I can't tell. There's no more lines on that. All right, so we want this side. These are pain, so let me put a little lubricant on it. And I'm trying to be really careful so that I don't damage or crease, bend, whatever this little check valve here. So I'm going to find my little pick. Let's see if I can just help it along here. All right, so we're making headway finally. All right, we are through. Can you see that? All right, let's take the other one out and let's do the same thing. So, all right, so new check valves are in. Already got something on them. All right. All right, so we're going to put this. It's pretty easy if you're putting the carburetor back together. You can see how this is going to fit together. So, not too difficult. go ahead and snug these down. I think the next step is to do a pop off. Maybe, you know, maybe the pop off is way up there and it's just not generating enough pressure to shove fuel through. So let's check it out and see. Nothing. You get the gauge up here where you can see it. All right, we're coming. Here we go. So we're up to 10. Inching up to 20. We are at 30. Come on. So that wasn't much of a pop. So we were up about 40. So let's. I'm just holding it to see how well it is holding pressure after I shut it off. All right, let's do this again. Maybe that's my problem. Did we just find it? Let me get some more WD-40 in here. Let's run this again. All right, you should have enough in there to, yeah, let's do it again. All right, we're at 10, 20, 30, so I guess we'll consider that a pop off, and we are around 38. Wouldn't you say? Was that where we were? Well, there we go. That's what I was expecting to happen. Now, did I get you? All right, so I don't know. That so we were up there about 40 psi. Well, maybe this is our problem. Either that. So the only things I've done is this. We put it all back together. I did change the check valves. That's the only thing. So I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go to some message boards and I want to see if that is considered a pop. I'm used to an actual small explosion, right? I'm not used to just bubbling and, you know, the foam stuff. So So anyway, like I said, I'm going to stop here. I'm going to go look at some message boards, and we're going to come back, and I'm either going to maybe try some different springs or maybe another needle, or we'll put this thing back in the ski if this is normal. Okay, so I've consulted a little bit with the message boards, and I'm encouraged. I think we're going to be okay with these carbs. First thing I learned is you have to make sure that your needle is fully lubricated, either with the fuel or with WD-40s we're using. Otherwise, it will not seal off, and so that could be the problem why I was just getting the bubbling without the the actual pop. So we're going to do it again. I've done it off camera. I just made sure best I could to make sure that a needle is lubricated. The other thing I found out is the problem that I'm having could have been those check valves. I don't remember changing them on my rebuild last year, but as easily as those rubber grommets broke when I just used this little tool, makes me think I didn't. And I may not have, because it is so difficult and tedious to get those check valves back on and that little grommet through the little hole in the carburetor. So anyway, that could have been my problem. So we're going to redo the pop off real quick here, and let's see where we're at here. And like I said, I'm encouraged now that I found out more. Those check valves work in conjunction with the pump on the carburetor, and so that could be the reason why when I first opened this carb up, it was so dry, like there was no fuel here. I don't know, but we're going to find out here if this now is working properly. Then we're going to get it back in the ski, and let's see if we've fixed our problem. All right, so we're going to do this again. And let's see if we get an actual pop now instead of just a bubbling. And here we are, 10, 20, 30, 35. So I didn't shut it off in time. So we were in spec. I went up to about 38, just over 35, if you could see that, and it popped, and I think the window is 38. That's what I was looking for, and that was the problem. I see a little bubble. Let's see if we can. Whoa! Didn't intend to do that. I wanted to hit it and then see if it stopped. It seals itself back off, and no more bubbles. And we're not seeing any bubbles. So let's get this thing back together. Let's get it into the ski, and let's see if I have got this ski running. All right, so I've got the carb back in. We're going to film that, pretty much putting it back in just the way I took it out. But it is important. There is one thing. When I took this carb out, as I said, I unbolted this the whole cable instead of messing with it underneath the carb. Let me see if I can get a light down there on it. So when I've put it back in, it's very important that, I'm trying to get a light on it here, that you get this. This is your adjuster for the oil mixture with your fuel. So I undid this whole cable here, and so I put it back in. So it's very important that you get it back to where your oil mixture is right. So let me carry you around the other side, and you may or may not be able to see, but we're going to try it anyway. So I've made sure, see if I can get you down in here and get a light on it. And it's really hard for me to see. I can't tell, and I apologize. I'm trying to get a light on it on the mirror. But anyway, the oil pump, there are two lines that are lined up perfectly down there. Normally I do a little rich, but I went ahead and lined it. So I'm sure it's going to be hard to tell. We're looking at a mirror and it's upside down, but that's, you'll know it. The lever arm has got a little mark on it, and the body of the oil pump has the same thing on it, and they line up perfectly. So I just wanted to real quick make sure you understood that cable. All right, so we're close. Let me finish up here and we're going to see if this thing will start up. All right guys, so do you think I got it running? If you can see, I'm not going to try to fool you and say, okay, we're going to start this thing first time. You can see my garage is full. So it did start up and it did smoke, and so I'm gonna, it's been sitting there a minute, so we're gonna do it again. Although it doesn't sound like it's running quite right, but you know, maybe we'll see. But anyway, let me start it back up for you and see if you pick up on the sound of the engine. It does, there's something sounds a little off and I can't pick it out. So this would be just the second crank. Let's see if it'll crank again. You hear this? All right, I don't know. This is a new mic, wireless mic. I don't know how well it's picking up as far as the engine sound, but it didn't cranks and it's running and it's taking throttle, but there's something about it that just doesn't sound right. So I'm gonna keep looking, but we did solve the no start problem on this thing. So it fires right up now. And I guess, in bottom line, it comes down to maybe the two check valves, and maybe that was it. That's the only thing. That's the only thing that should really see. The only reason the pop off was not working correctly is I don't believe I had the needle lubricated enough to seal. All right, so we'll close the video out here. I appreciate you joining me, and we're going to have quite a few more videos coming up soon. I've got a rebuild on my boat. I've got a rebuild on another jet ski. I think will be the next project. So again, appreciate you joining me, and we'll see you in the next video.